I've always loved the ocean. There's something serene about standing on the shore, watching the waves roll in, endless and powerful. But after what happened last summer, I'll never set foot near the water again. It started when I took a job as a night guard at a small marina in a coastal town. It wasn't exactly thrilling work, but I needed the money and I figured how hard could it be to watch over boats. The marina was quiet at night, with only the sound of the waves lapping against the docks and the occasional creak of the boats rocking in the tide. On my third night, I noticed something strange. Around 2 a.m., I heard a splash, louder than any fish or bird would make. I shone my flashlight toward the sound, expecting to see someone messing around near the boats, but there was nothing, just ripples spreading across the dark water. The next night, it happened again. This time, I saw a movement, something large, just below the surface, gliding smoothly between the boats. It was too big to be a seal, and its movements were too deliberate. It wasn't aimless, it was searching. I told myself it was probably a manatee or some other harmless animal, but deep down, I didn't believe it. Manatees don't move like that. On the fifth night, I brought my coworker, Dave, to the docks. He was older, a retired fisherman, and I figured he'd know if I was just being paranoid. At first, he laughed when I told him about the splashes and the shadow, but when the sound came again, louder this time, his face changed. "That's not normal," he muttered, his eyes fixed on the water. We stood in silence, waiting. Then, from the corner of the dock, we saw it. A shape, massive and serpentine, broke the surface for just a moment before vanishing into the black. It was covered in something, barnacles or scales maybe, but its size was unlike anything I'd ever seen. "Get inside," Dave said, his voice shaking. "Now." Back in the small office, I pressed him for answers, but he just shook his head. "There's things out there," he said finally, lighting a cigarette with trembling hands. "Old things, things that don't belong here anymore." I thought he was messing with me, but the look in his eyes told me otherwise. He refused to go back out to the docks that night, and I couldn't blame him. The next night, I was alone again. I was jumpy, constantly looking over my shoulder, but the first few hours were quiet. Then, just after midnight, the power went out. The marina was plunged into darkness, with only the faint light of the moon reflecting off the water. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside to check the generator. As I walked, I heard it again. The splash, closer this time, followed by a low, guttural noise that didn't sound like it belonged to any living creature. I froze. Something was moving in the water, something huge. It wasn't just gliding now, it was circling. The boats rocked violently as if something was pushing against them, and the air was thick with the smell of salt and decay. Then I saw it, rising slowly from the water. Its head, or what I assumed was its head, emerged. It was massive, its skin slick and dark, with deep grooves running along its surface. But the worst part was its eyes. They were wide and pale, like dead fish eyes, and they locked onto me with an intelligence that made my stomach churn. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The thing let out a low, resonating hum that vibrated through my chest, and for a moment, I thought I was going to pass out. Then, as quickly as it appeared, it sank back into the water. The waves settled, and the marina was silent again. I didn't stick around to find out if it was coming back. I quit that night and left town the next day. But sometimes, late at night, I dream about those eyes staring at me from the depths. I don't know what I saw, but I know it wasn't meant to be seen. The ocean is vast and ancient, and we've only scratched the surface of what's out there. Whatever that thing was, it's still out there, waiting, and it's watching.